Hello and welcome to another book review, and today I would like to talk to you about Dissonant Harmonies. It's a collection that pairs The Dead of Winter, a novella by Bev Vincent, and The Motel at the End of the World, a novella by Brian Keene. This is the paperback available right now through Cemetery Dance. It is coming out eventually as a signed hardcover, but I believe that is fully sold out, and we don't know when that's coming out. But anyways, let's talk about the contents here. First of all, before you even get to the stories, you are going to have an introduction by both of them. The mixtapes in introduction, which is required reading for this collection as far as I'm concerned. You see, back in 2007, Bev Vincent and Brian Keene both discovered that they listen to music when they write. And so they decided, hey, how interesting would it be if we provide each other with mixtapes to inspire our writing? And we, figured out what we created from that. And so they did. Also, this introduction describes the process. It kind of actually goes into the mixtapes themselves, going track by track, giving several paragraphs into their thoughts behind the songs, for why it was included and what they thought of the songs, before you even get into the stories proper. Once you get into the stories, you're going to find out that a massive bulk of this collection, I mean, this volume is 160 pages, and 100 of those pages are Bev Vincent's The Dead of Winter, which is definitely the standout star of this collection. Admittedly, I don't think I've read any fiction by Bev Vincent before. The man is a walking encyclopedia of Stephen King knowledge. I actually just did an unboxing of a chapbook a nonfiction chapbook in which Bev Vincent talks about all the various translated titles of Stephen King books, which is very interesting. But this is the first actual fiction that I'm aware that I've read by Vincent. And man, he knocked it out of the park. I mean, I'm reading this in the summer. If you wanted to read this in The Dead of Winter, you'd probably get a much more powerful ambiance in which to appreciate this novella. But this is the story of two brothers. They've been apart for some time, and, well, they're coming back together and dealing with some very interesting disappearances in their town. All of these disappearances in The Dead of Winter are linked by these strange tunnels that are found within the basements. But what's even more strange is that only one of the brothers can actually see those tunnels. It's, the other brother is only seeing a wall. He's not seeing anything there, which is very intriguing. And so it's up to these two brothers to kind of get to the bottom of what the hell is going on. It's a little bit horror, a little bit kind of mystery, noir, all smack dab in the center of a snowstorm and center of a blizzard. Makes for one very interesting read. You can definitely feel the influences of the mixtape, the songs that Brian Keene picked out for him within the story. Funny enough, none of the songs themselves are actually found within the novella, which is fine. I didn't expect it to be. But with combinations of Everything's Ruined by Faith No More or Alice in Chains, you kind of get, or Marilyn Manson, Nine Inch Nails, you get kind of a bleak, dark kind of atmosphere, which definitely shines through in The Dead of Winter. So definitely check this one out. I mean, it's worth the price of admission alone, in my opinion. Admittedly, a lot of the side characters are very kind of cliche, but I mean, that's totally fine with a short novella like this. You have the law enforcement who has the relationship with one of the protagonists, kind of a spurred relationship. You have the hermit character who, will wax poetic about the strange rumors going around and the tales and the folk legends of the area. So, you have your stock characters, but it's enjoyable through and through. Then the second novella, which is actually more of a short story, to be honest, is The Motel at the End of the World with Brian Keene. It's not bad, but unfortunately it doesn't hold up compared to The Dead of Winter. I don't want to compare the two of them because, this is very much a package deal where you want to enjoy both. But Bev Vincent does such an incredible job with The Dead of Winter that I couldn't help but be a little disappointed with Brian Keene's. Keene, I've actually read more of his nonfiction, his blog posts, He had, oh man, what was it called? Was it called End of the Road? It was a collection of blog posts and diary entries as he was doing a book signing that was published by Cemetery Dance, which is an incredible read. I mean, the man has a very good voice. But I think that's partly what part of my issue is with his short story, is it's not a bad short story, but it almost feels like a blog post that he kind of just shifted and morphed in a way to become a short story. It deals with a couple who are locked in a motel and the very unreliable narrator is talking about how the world is ending outside. And the reason the world is ending is due to the Mandela effect. Well, not Mandela effect per se, but there's lots of pages about talking about the Mandela effect. If you're not familiar with the Mandela effect, it's the idea that, that reality is this way, and suddenly reality seems to shift a different way. Take, for example, Nelson Mandela, where the effect is named after. There is a huge portion of the population who distinctively remembers him dying in prison. But if you go and look at the history books, he didn't die in prison. He got out of prison. He became was the president of South Africa, or was it prime minister? I don't recall those details. But it's everyone, or Berenstain. Everyone remembers it being Berenstain Bears. But if you actually look at it, no, it's Berenstain Bears. That's the Mandela effect, almost like you're in a different universe. What you know to be fact is not actually fact. And yeah, I mean, there's pages upon pages of him talking about the Mandela effect. And like I said, it almost feels like Brian Keene just kind of writing a blog post about it. I mean, yes, there are some twists and turns within the short story. There is, in fact, a narrative there. Once you get past the blog-like rants about the Mandela effect. And the story, like I say, it's serviceable enough. It's not a bad short story. It's just, it's disappointing after Bev Vincent's, and it's a little disappointing in light of the collection and the idea behind the collection. In his story notes, Brian Keene talks about how this is actually the second story that he wrote based off the mixtape. The first one ended up being very similar to Stephen King's short story N, back in the Just After Sunset collection. And because of that, he scrapped his short story and started fresh. And one of the things he talks about in his story notes is how he was tempted to just take any old short story, dust it off, any unused short story, dust it off, and then kind of, adjusting it so that it fit the idea of the mixtapes. And I hate to say it, it almost feels like he did that. I know he says he didn't do that, and I don't want to discredit Brian Keene, but because he certainly could have, used the mixtape as a jumping off point, but it doesn't quite feel it, at least not in the same way that The Dead of Winter did for Bev Vincent. So, like I said, it's not a bad short story, but it's disappointing in light of the package. But anyways, Dissonant Harmonies is available right now through Cemetery Dance. It actually came out a few years back, 2021, as a trade paperback. You can pick up a copy right now on their website. There's also, if you wanted to listen to the mixtape for yourself, a Spotify playlist. I'll put a link in the description below where they've actually compiled the mixtapes, which is just really cool. That's fantastic. It adds to the level when you're reading this and enjoying this. As I mentioned in the beginning, there is going to be a signed limited edition eventually. I know on the production page for Cemetery Dance, there is a picture of the signed limitation sheet showing Brian Keene and Bev Vincent have both signed it. But it's getting held up with the printing end, so I don't know when that'll be coming out. Plus, I don't think that was ever for sale. I believe the hardcover edition was part of, it might have been like the Cemetery Dance Collectors Club for 1 year, and so those are locked in. But if copies do become available, I'm sure you can find them on the secondary market once it does come out. So anyways, there is I was going to say quick book review, but I've kind of rambled for 10 minutes here. There is my book review for Dissonant Harmonies, 2 novellas by Bev Vincent and Brian Keene. Normally I do these reviews on Tuesday, but on Tuesdays, plural, every Tuesday. But I'm currently reading a novel that's 1,000 pages, so I couldn't quite get that done in a single week. And I'm reading Family as Fast as I Can by Ian Rogers. That'll be my next one. But I wasn't quite done with that one yet. So I did have, these two quicker novellas ready to go and ready to be reviewed. So anyways, please consider subscribing to the channel if you want to check out more of those book reviews. Or I have plenty of unboxing videos between here and there for all sorts of small presses that you can also check out. So anyways, thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you around next time.